in-depth weather, and more. It's Terry Henne and his Farm Show on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com.
A mostly sunny good morning to you. I hope your day is going well for you, wherever you might be. We're looking at a pretty nice one once again. 80 degrees. That's where we were yesterday. We're 80 degrees right now at the airport. 78 here at Radio Center. Downtown Midland is at 80. 77 degrees in downtown Bay City as of right now. An east breeze, just under 10 miles. So we do have a little bit of air movement there. 74% is our humidity, so we're a little more humid than what we were yesterday. 30.03 and steady is the barometric pressure. We're going to hang on to that barometer. Actually, I think we're going to move up just a little bit as we go through the next 12 to 18 hours. We have a high pressure system literally right over top of us. That high is ever so slowly going to be drifting down a little bit and then off to the east. And what that's going to do is not only keep us on a pretty good side of things as far as the clouds and everything else, plenty of sun, but it is going to increase our humidity still, and it will increase our temperatures. Don't be surprised this afternoon if you hear maybe 3 or 4 cities looking at 90 degrees, and we're only going to drop down to about 70 for a low tonight. Clear skies still tonight. Beautiful sunset coming up at 8:31. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:48. Then I think for the most part, all day long tomorrow, it's going to be sunny, and it is going to be warm, and it is going to be humid. We're looking for a high of right around 90 degrees once again. Spotty shower activity will try to move in real late, and I think it's going to be after sunset before we begin to see any indications at all of getting some form of precipitation. We're going to be looking at a south breeze tomorrow at right around 10. And again, that's a function of that high pressure system to the east and the south of us. With that clockwise circulation, it's going to be pulling some of this unsettled air right up into Michigan, and that's going to include some moisture. The high is also a blocking mechanism. It is going to be keeping the tropical storm that will become a Hurricane Henry. It's going to keep it off of the East Coast until it gets up to the New England states. And I got a funny feeling that the center of that low pressure system, it'll deteriorate just a little bit, but it'll move right over top of Boston, Massachusetts as we move into the day on Sunday. So they are going to be getting some really heavy rains and some strong gusty winds out of that as we go through the weekend out there. So if you are planning on doing any traveling in that direction, be advised that they are going to be running into some pretty stormy conditions there. Sunday, whatever happens on late Saturday night will roll into early Sunday morning. That frontal system that we're talking about, that's going to generate the chance of any precipitation real late on Saturday night, will dissipate. It'll break down. It'll lose a lot of its intensity, because the center, the low pressure that it's hooked onto right now is over North Dakota, and it's going to wind up all the way up into Hudson Bay in Canada. So a lot of the energy is going to be leaving that frontal system, and right behind it and ahead of it, 2 high pressure systems. So I think the front, for the most part, is going to be breaking down, but still, we're going to have a chance of some precipitation rolling into early Sunday morning, but becoming mostly sunny. The big change there is going to be the temperature, about 85 for a high on Sunday, 66 for a low on Sunday night. High pressure over Wisconsin, drifting down then into Indiana as we start the work week off. Mostly sunny skies on Monday, Tuesday, and then maybe, once again, because of the unsettled air, chances of precipitation later in the day on Tuesday and Tuesday night. But right now, it doesn't look like a very good chance at all. 90 degrees on Monday, 90 degrees on Tuesday, about 85, 86 on Wednesday, about 85, 86 on Thursday. Above average temperatures to take us all the way through the work week next week as we go into the weekend and the first few days of September. We're going to look for a little temperature moderation, but it doesn't appear as though those temperatures are going to be quite as chilly as what some of the forecasters had indicated it would be. And by chilly, 75, 76, what's average is 80. So it's below average, but very nice, very pleasant weather. And I think moving into the Labor Day holiday, we are going to be looking at least average, but there is some indication things are going to begin to warm up in the month of September. Well, that's another forecast. We'll get into that as we move through the work week next week. In a nutshell, that's the way the weather is shaping up. Incidentally, record high in this state is 100. And that was set back in 1916. The record low was 41, set in 1977. A year ago, 86 was our high, 56 was our low. More on the weather as we go through the broadcast. Gary Kaufman standing by. I don't know if he's going to be able to work any magic or not, but the Chicago Board of Trade has got something else in mind. We'll be talking to him in just a moment. But before we do that, we want to remind you the weather forecast brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Nutrien Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrien Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrienagsolutions.com.
They say there's a secret to growing a great crop. At Nutrien Ag Solutions, they beg to differ. It all starts with a strong foundation, and when it comes to fertilizer, there's no question that Titan XE drives dry fertilizer performance. They've been unlocking the potential in every prill of dry fertilizer with biocatalyst technology for over a decade. Visit lpi.ag/Titan or contact your Nutrien Ag Solutions crop consultant to drive your crop's potential today. If you're looking to sweeten up your future,
Northeastern Paint, Home Decoration Center. We're more than a custom paint store. We have everything you need. From carpet to lighting, it's all here. With quality and satisfaction guaranteed. Northeastern Paint, Home Decoration Center.
Since 1959, count them, that's 62 years Northeastern Paint Supply has been serving the Tri-Cities. We have the most knowledgeable staff in the area, offering you the highest quality products in the industry. Benjamin Moore Paints, Hunter Douglas Blinds, Quazell and Kitchener Lighting, Flooring from Flooring America, fireplace doors, gas logs, and custom-made rugs. It's all here under one roof. Northeastern Paint Supply, Saginaw and Bay City.
Northeastern Paint, Home Decoration Center.
if you're looking to sweeten up your future, Northeastern Paint is a pretty good spot to go. Also, if you're looking to sweeten up your future, Marabou Seed is looking for an independent sales agent to introduce sugar beet seed to Michigan growers. All you got to do is call this number, and it works. There is a voicemail attached to it, and they are calling people back. 541-657-8402. Or you can go online to marabouseed.com and just look for the applicant tab there. They've been a worldwide powerhouse in premium sugar beet seed for more than a century. And after some great showings over the past couple of years, Marabou is coming in full force to Michigan. If you'd like to join a group of highly motivated agents to spread the word in this area, 541-657-8402. That's marabouseed.com. Check out more by going to that email address, that website, because they are looking forward to hearing from you. Now, we've been talking about sweet, Gary Kaufman. Last time I took a look at the board, it wasn't exactly anything to write home about. It certainly wasn't sweet, especially yesterday. And not today. We're not really recovering at all, are we?
No, we're having another repeat of yesterday. It's another falling Friday in the grains for sure, Terry, unfortunately. But yeah, we moved through some 50-day moving average, 100-day moving average on the technical side, and that created some more fun selling, and that's kind of what we're seeing today, like we seen yesterday. So it's just kind of a little bit of a meltdown here currently. But right now, Terry, I guess wheat is the leader. It's only down 8 right now. Puts the cash white at 684 and the cash red at 649. New crop for next year down 4 at 717 on the white, 657 on the red. Cash corn currently down 11 at $6. New crop down 11 at 490. Cash soybeans currently down 15 at 1280, and new crop down 15 at 1245. Terry.
So I would certainly hope that some of our farmers have done some forward work here, because I'm not that good of a prognosticator when it comes to the markets. But I'm not seeing a big turnaround coming here anytime soon.
No, well, you look at we're the kind of the macro environment. It kind of weighing on the commodities. Of course, as the Pro Farmer tour this week was showing pretty good results across the Corn Belt and the corn arena, and and then you take everything else along with some timely rains in some pretty dry areas. That's put most of the pressure on the market here in the last few days here, Terry. But yeah, you're right. Growers have definitely taken advantage of some of these high prices. There's been plenty of contracting on soybeans, wheat, and corn, for this fall and for next year. So definitely some good numbers to lock some pricing in, and hopefully we can keep the input cost at bay, because that's been a challenge, moving forward too, is with the higher grain prices, the higher input costs could kind of go along with it. So,
all right, Gary, you have a good weekend. We'll talk to you again next week, okay?
All right. Yep, you as well, Terry. Thank you.
Will do. A little bit more as far as what the markets are doing. Doug Klein from Oppenheimer has the latest market report, brought to you by Schaefer and Beerline, this area's Great Lakes Bay certified ag dealer. You can make a new Ram commercial truck a part of your everyday use for family, farm, and business today. It's Ram commercial truck season going on right now at Schaefer and Beerline since 1852, where family and service sells cars. And by the folks at Thumb Bank, serving the needs of local farmers for well over 125 years. A couple locations in Bay City. Also, Cassidy, Kaysville, Pigeon, and Bad Axe. Thumb Bank, where relationships are built on trust. Doug Klein, what do you think?
Oh, boy. Well, I did see a news article from John Deere. They said they're booked out a whole year on large tractors. So hope you don't need one in the next 6 months, because it's probably not going to happen unless you ordered it.
I think a lot of guys are in the same boat there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Jeez.
Pretty tough.
Well, yeah. Well, the strength of the dollar is probably the biggest problem. I did see the Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar exchange rate go to $1.29. If at the border, it's setting at $1.2850 right now. So it's kind of backed off a little bit. So that's good for Canada against us. Can we do a lot of trade with them? Not only grains, but also energy, and a lot of things sneak through from China through Canada, some of the steel and things like that. So, yeah, who knows? But right now, what we're dealing with is negative on the grains, 1 to 2%. Crude and the energies 1 to 1.5% down. Platinum is making a little comeback, 2% up, but that's very thin. And copper's up 1.5%. But again, that's kind of a bounce from a pretty hard bottom. So here's your numbers. The September corn, 538.5, down 11.5. The December corn, 538 3/4, down 12 cents. September soybeans, 1308.5, down 14.5. November soybeans, 1305 3/4, down 14 1/4. September wheat, 719.5, down 8 cents. And December wheat is 734 3/4, also down 8 cents. Crude oil, 62.95, down 55 cents. Heating oil is 193.57, down 3.5 cents. Gasoline, 205.30, down 2.8 cents. And that should give us about 270 at the pump. And really close to a 4 or 5 month low. But
Not seeing it.
They're kind of sort of taking their time. So
yes, they are.
I'm holding out. I just don't need it just yet, but I'm going to need some gas next week. I'm just hinting. So Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar gets you $1.2862 at the border. That's up 38 ticks. The yen is at 109.79, up 7 ticks. The euro's at 116.79, up 5 ticks. The dollar's at 93.61. That's up 4 ticks. Gold's at 17.8160, up $1.40. Silver's at 23.09, down 13.5 cents, and they're probably about 85 cents from a low for the year on silver. So that's kind of trending lower. The platinum is 992.20. That's up $21.
Doug Klein, you have a good weekend.
Thanks. Yep, you too.
You betcha. Doug Klein over at Oppenheimer. Speaking of John Deere, they are looking at Tri-County Equipment for technicians to join their team. As a John Deere technician, you're going to provide solutions every day with the latest technology while working on engines, systems, and equipment. Stop by any of their locations today and find out how you can have a very rewarding future as a John Deere technician working for Tri-County Equipment. If you're talking John Deere and Michigan's Thumb, as well as Saginaw, Reese, and Birch Run, you are talking Tri-County Equipment, working harder, doing more. Craig Voorhees joining me right now. Craig, a lot of harvest equipment is starting to move. We've seen some sugar beet equipment in operation. Dry beans are going to start to be harvested here pretty quick. Let's talk a little bit about moving equipment. What's the latest tip for us?
Yes, Terry, we all know everything's going to be hitting the road here real soon. And, everything's usually lit properly and signed properly. And one of the other things we need to talk about when we're talking about moving equipment is maybe you've acquired one of those big fancy fuel trailers in the last 12 months or so, and you're changing how you do things a little bit. That's an important thing to let your agent know if they haven't talked to you about that. With the pollution exposure on those, you're carrying 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel and maybe a couple hundred gallons of DEF. Something happens to that and it leaks into a ditch or whatever, you could have a real mess on your hands. And we'd like the policy to protect the growers in those situations. So if you've added something like that to your mix, to your fleet, give us a call and let us know what's going on so we can make sure that you're properly protected.
Good advice. And we can get a hold of you. How do we do that, Craig?
Well, we're always happy to talk on the phone, Terry, at 800-572-0939, or they can go to the farm page at rummelinsurance.com and send me an email.
You have a good weekend, Craig. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, Terry.
You bet. Craig Voorhees with the Rummel Agency. Speaking next week, a few things going on. One in particular is Between the Rows Corn Tour. Kristen Poley clued us in on what's going on there. Kristen, tell us a little bit, first of all, about the corn crop here in the state. What are you hearing and what are you seeing?
Well, overall, the corn crop is looking pretty good. We have pretty high hopes for this year. We've had despite the early drought and then some pretty crazy rain patterns in parts of the state through May, June, and early July, we're actually sitting pretty good. Hoping for some rain through August. That'll really help us get through that grain fill period, but we're pretty optimistic this year.
Now, you've got a tour coming up, the Between the Rows tour. How many years have you been doing this so far?
Well, I think this is going to be the 6th year for our Between the Rows tour, and that does not count 2020 where we did have the tour, but it was virtual. So I think this is the 6th year of in-person Between the Rows events for us.
So you should have this pretty well down pat, right?
Well, of course.
Let's talk a little bit about the procedure. What are you going to be doing? When is it going to start?
Sure. So we structured these Between the Rows tours so that we cover really most of the state of Michigan where corn production is pretty high. So we've got a couple of Between the Rows tour stops in the Thumb area. We've got some in mid-Michigan, on the west side, in the southwest, and the southeast. They start on August 23rd and run through Thursday, September 2nd this year. So we're very thankful for our farmer hosts for helping us put these on. And each of these tour stops includes a free dinner for the attendees. It includes an agronomy update, a marketing update, And then just a general update from us here at Michigan Corn on trade, ethanol, any other topics of interest to our farmers out there, and just some general good socializing and talk about corn.
As far as the Between the Rows tour is concerned, coming up on August the 24th in our immediate broadcast area, Bauer Farms in Reese. And then the next day up in Port Austin at Morosky Farms. That is Wednesday, August the 25th. For more information on it, all you got to do is go to micorn.org. The Between the Rows tour kicking off on Monday here in Michigan. And as I said, in a couple locations in our immediate area. Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at Ed Raymond and Sons, quality clothing and shoes since 1919. Talking Carhartts, Red Wing shoes and boots, Stormy Cromer accessories. It's all at Ed Raymond's, celebrating more than 100 years at 151 West Broad Street in Chesaning. They are open 7 days. Along with me, I've got Chuck Cervinsky, Maple Hill Nursery over in Midland. Chuck, let's talk a little bit about our lawns. First of all, how do you know if you need to seed your lawn, Chuck?
Well, we're getting to that time of the year, and if your lawn's a little thin or if you got a few patches that are baseball size or smaller, normally application of fertilizer and some irrigation will help the lawn rejuvenate. If it's anything more than that, it's probably a good thing to consider reseeding or at least overseeding. There's a couple of ways that you can do that. You need good seed to soil contact to start with. You don't want to just broadcast the seed onto the area and leave it. If you're going to spread it by hand, you're going to need to put a little layer of topsoil over top of it, because if you don't, all you're going to do is end up feeding the birds. The best and most effective way to overseed is to have somebody do it with a slit seeder, or you can rent a slit seeder at a rental store. And what it does is creates a slice in the soil that the seed falls into, and that really gets your good seed to soil contact. And it's always best to slit seed in two directions if you can.
Now, if it doesn't fit in my budget as far as renting or buying, what's the easy way to do it? One of those chicken rakes?
Well, yeah, what we call a hardback rake, or chicken rakes, as our grandparents always called them. And you can take and rough up the area and then drop and spread your seed, and it will go into the ground much the same way as slit seeding, and then top dress it with a good screen topsoil and a starter fertilizer and water.
What kind of seed should I be talking, Chuck?
You know, in our area, we have a lot of cool season fescues, and that's really what you should try to stick to. Some of it will have a little bit of Kentucky bluegrass, and that's all right as well. But we have mostly cool season grasses, and especially if your lawn is on the dry side, consider using a taller fescue blend, as that will withstand a little bit drier condition.
Okay, we've got it in, and actually some of the grass has really come up nicely so far. So how do I maintain it?
Well, let's talk about a starter fertilizer. You're going to want to use that for reseeding or even a newer lawn, and you're going to want to apply it at about a 3 pound per 1,000 square foot rate. And if you do that and keep it watered, it's really going to produce results.
And one of those little whippy spreaders, probably the best thing for the fertilizer?
That or a drop spreader, either one will do a good job for you.
Very good. Chuck Cervinsky, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. For more information, we can go online. Where do we go?
www.maplehillmidland.com.
Chuck, thanks a lot. Have a great weekend, okay?
Bader family has been proud to be your local John Deere dealer. Starting in central Michigan and growing to 10 stores from southeast Michigan to the bridge, we are happy to announce the transition to another great organization. Going forward, Hudson Inc. will continue to provide the John Deere experience you can rely on for parts, service, and sales. The Bader family thanks you for all your business and wishes Hudson Inc. the very best.
We'll be back at 12:30 with an update, so you stick around. But right now, we're going to conclude our farm program today by the playing of our national anthem.
From the Stone Specialist Studios, this is WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.